Yeah, it's a little noisy tonight, but we'll make it. CQ, the old friends net. This is N4LQ. Steve in Shelby, North Carolina. November 4, Lima, Quebec, calling CQ. The old friends net is a AM amplitude modulation net. Sort of mostly interested in vintage gear, but anybody that can generate an AM signal is welcome to check in. We operate in the round table fashion. We make a list of check-ins and give you a position in that list. So those wishing to check in to the net, please call now.
Good afternoon, WA4LLR.
N4IYQ.
KG4 WB4ARK.
W7IUC. WB4NKM.
WB4NKM.
November 4 Alpha Kilo.
K1VVC.
WM4 PFI.
WA4FJQ.
Anybody else wishing to check into the net? We did have a double with KZ4B, and I copied IYQ right before that, and then WB4ARK after that. So who did I miss?
I don't know, but I believe it's KG4IUQ. You probably missed me. I don't know.
That's probably right. All right. Thank you, Mark. All right, here's the list as I have it. First of all, I have WA4LLR, N4IYQ, Chuck, KZ4B, John, KG4IUQ, Mark, WB4ARK, Buddy. What have I got here? I'm not even sure who that is. I got IUC. Who in the world's that? I missed somebody. Then I got, you can fill me in, WB4NKM, WB4NKL, N4AK, K1VVC, WN4PFI, and WA4FJQ. Who did I miss? They're right after Buddy.
That's W7IUC.
That's Norm. Okay, I looked at that and I said, what is IUC? All right, Norm. Welcome to the net. Glad you can make it. All right, one more time real quick. WA4LLR. Now notice your position here and who to turn it over to. N4IYQ, KZ4B, KG4IUQ, WB4ARK, W7IUC, and then Norm, you'll turn it over to WB4NKM, and then WB4NKL, N4AK, K1VVC, and WN4PFI, then WA4FJQ. And there we go. I am running a genuine Johnson Viking Mobile transmitter for the first time on the air, and we'll see how it works out using a D104 non-amplified, driving the little mobile. It is an interesting and strange transmitter. So, Dave, go ahead, WA4LLR, N4LQ.
right. Steve, fine business. Good afternoon to you and everyone on the net, and it sure is good to hear Norm down here. Glad he got the Ranger to to tune up on this frequency. We've got 71 degrees up here in the eastern part of Yancey County. Partly cloudy. We've had thunderstorms floating around us all afternoon, but none right over us. Hopefully they've kind of drifted away. According to my lightning detector, the closest was about 14 miles from us. Running the typical rig, BC610C. Different receiver though. I'm receiving on a BC342N. So I thought I would rest the Hammerland HQ150 for a bit. Boy, I tell you, the solar space weather's been it's been popping. We've had multiple flares, most of them Class M. We did have one X class, X1.9. A lot of minor radio blackouts, but so far everybody's sounding good, so it doesn't seem to be bothering us much, and the QRN is not too bad here at the time. So I'll go ahead and send it up to Chuck, N4IYQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR and the old friends N4IYQ. Well, good afternoon all the way around. Certainly good to hear everyone. It's about 78 degrees here. Had some sunshine, a little bit of cloud today, seen some lightning, but off in the distance on my lightning detector, mostly over along the mountain ranges and down to the west of us. Saw some over towards Iceville, Dave, and I'm sure you saw the same stuff. We're on the Johnson Ranger this afternoon, a straight up D104 non-amplified, driving the SB221 at about 220 watts carrier, and receiving with the Hammerland HQ180A. Haven't gotten a whole lot accomplished this weekend, been kind of relaxing and kicked back. Looking forward to Dayton week after next. The enthusiasm builds every day. Hope we have good weather up there. Hope we don't have any of the storms that they've had in the Midwest, and hate the people that have had it. The deaths, injuries, and destruction of property. Feel for them, keep them in our prayers. On down to you, John. KZ4 Bravo, N4IYQ.
Okay, N4IYQ in the group, KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Chuck. Good signal here. The noise level is lower than usual. It's only about an S8. The noise hasn't gone away. It's just not on this frequency. It's absolutely tearing up the broadcast band. But that's a situation. It's been a mostly sunny afternoon with some black clouds that would drift through, making it look like it might rain, but it never did. And so I was able to get in my daily walk. And the grass is up to my knees, and I cut it last Wednesday. So if it rains tomorrow and the next few days, I will need the bush hog. Otherwise, maybe I can sneak it in. The rig here is the usual Knight T150, driving the Ameritron AL1500, and that in turn is directly feeding a inverted V resonant on 80 meters up about 75 feet at the apex via a long run of coax, maybe even 150 feet or more. So I'm not sure how much makes it to the antenna, but apparently enough to be heard. So on that note, over to Mark. KG4IUQ in the group, KZ4B, over.
Thank you very much, John. You're definitely making the trip here to Shelby. Sounding very good with your Knight T150. Very good signal. It's been raining here, not much today, I don't believe, but probably last night a little bit, and yesterday a lot of rain. I've been trying to get my garden ready, and there's a lot of mud out there and some weeds growing out there now. I have watermelon, corn planted. I'm going to try to grow some beans, lots of stuff. And Steve, you're sounding very good here with your Johnson Viking Mobile. Dave, LLR, you sound very good with the BC610C. I think maybe someday I'm going to try to have one of those transmitters. I'm not sure about it. I'm going to turn it over now. Well, before I go, I'm going to say what I'm running. I'm on my multi-LMAC AF68 with the PMR8 receiver. I have an 80-meter dipole, which I have put up a little bit higher since the last time I was on here. Last time Dave LLR was having some trouble hearing me, and I'm running a lot more power right now. I'm probably about 500 or 600 watts. I hope the sound is good. I'm going to turn it over now to Buddy, WB4ARK in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ, WB4ARK. All right. Well, your signal seems to be a little bit lower here today with that amount of power and making the changes in your antenna. But everybody else coming in pretty strong. And let's see, Dave mentioned that about the solar issues. We had, I guess, WWV was blacked out yesterday and partially today. 10 megahertz was very weak yesterday. 15 was non-existent. 20 and 25 was off. And today 20 was back up and working, and 10 was a little bit soft. So we had overnight we had 1.6 inches of rain. That's the last 24 hours from 7 o'clock this morning till 7 o'clock the day before. So we've had plenty of moisture on the ground. And let's see, I guess that's about it for right now. So over to W7IUC, WB4ARK.
All right, gentlemen. W7IUC, Southeast Tennessee. Boy, it's been a long time since I've been down here. Last time I tried to get down here, I couldn't get the Ranger to load up. But believe it or not, it loaded up this time. And I'm almost up to 40 watts. Oh, I don't know what I've done wrong last time, but I could not get this thing to load down here. I hope you hear me. Just run the little Johnson Ranger barefoot here. Using my Hamilton HQ110A receiver. Into an inverted V at about 30-35 feet. Not very high up, and I got a lot of coax. I got probably 150 foot of coax in this thing too. So God only knows what's getting to the antenna. I hope you fellas are copying me okay there. And like I said, been a long time since I've been able to get down here on the old friends net. I just tickled pink that it loaded up. Larry, I think I turn it to you. WB4NKM, W7IUC.
Very good, Norm. W7IUC from WB4NKM.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. Good evening, I guess. And the name here is Larry, located in Wise, Virginia. And I'm running a Johnson Ranger, driving an Ameritron and amplifier, running about 150 watts carrier, receiving on a Hammerman HQ170A. The antenna is end-fed half-wave. We had a storm right before the net rollovers here. I thought about unhooking, but I didn't hear any thunder. My wife said it was awful dark. She was in there at the kitchen sink looking out the window. And she asked me, are we getting a storm? And I wasn't hearing that many static crashes, but they were strong on the receiver here. Checking the weather, it's 68 degrees here. And enjoying all the good signals. Norm, yeah, it's good to hear you up here, and the signals here from everyone so far are excellent. Good band. Just static crash every once in a while, but everybody's sounding great. WB4NKL from WB4NKM.
WB4NKM. Sure is WB4NKL. Okay, Larry. Yeah, good signals here too. And Norm's, you're coming in fine. And Steve, the little Johnson Viking Mobile sounds good. I disconnected mine and put a LMAC AF67 here in this place, playing with it here today. So 78 degrees here, about 10 degrees warmer than up in Virginia, and we haven't, it's clouded up a few times, but we haven't had any rain here. Went over to Sam's Gap, the North Carolina-Tennessee line earlier today and walked about 5 miles on the Appalachian Trail. And on the way back, I ran into a pretty good rainstorm there between the Tennessee line and Irwin. But that's all the rain I've seen today. They're still calling for it here, maybe tomorrow, a bigger chance. So we could use it. They say we're about an inch short for this area. So go ahead, Glenn. N4AK, it's WB4NKL.
4NKL in the group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. My Johnson 500 is still on the fritz. I hope it's just a relay contact. But I'm on the FT991 Alpha and AL811H, running about 150 watts AM, somewhere in that vicinity. End-fed half-wave antenna, inverted L configuration. Dave, by the way, you have a FT991. This afternoon I had a tick noise. It's the band is about a S5 or 6, and then the ticking noise was ticking up to about 10 over 9, like a fence charger or something. And I pushed the noise blanker button, and this little FT991 zeroed it out. So I don't know if you've had a chance to see if yours is working. But if it's if the noise is very regular, it'll zero it out. Let's see. Had a little QSB on Mark. The band was kind of in and out, so but copying everybody okay. And the temperature here is 79 degrees in sunset. And I see there's a little thunderstorm over past Walhalla heading this way, but maybe it'll take a while. And I see one up around Marion, North Carolina. So anyway, nice to hear everybody today. John, to you and Greer. K1VVC, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
Yeah, thanks very much, Glenn. N4AK, K1VVC. Well, I don't think we had any rain, or if we did, it was just a little sprinkle overnight. But Other than that, it's either been cloudy or sunny. Whatever was they were predicting for 2 inches of rain did happen here. I guess Buddy must have got clobbered with it though. So it's been a nice weekend, and not doing very much, taking it easy a little bit. I'm running the usual Johnson Viking 500, receiving on an ITT Mackie 3010C receiver. And today I'm using an end-fed, half-wave end-fed. The antenna I normally use, which is on my other tower, the remote switches is malfunction. I've got to lower the tower down, which is pretty easy to do. I just been a little too lazy to do it. Doc, how have you been doing? And by the way, everybody's coming through fine today. WN4PFI, K1VVC.
K1VVC. John, this is WN4PFI in Suches, where it is 68 degrees, overcast. We've had rain some today. Rain during the night. It's rained the last 3 days. We normally average here in Suches, it's a little unbelievable. When we moved here 9 years ago, we averaged between 95 and 105 inches of rain each year. Had 1 year at 116 inches of rain. Never thought it would be that way here in the mountains, but that's what we have here. Most of that we get in the winter months, up into the spring. It's always a little drier here summer, but not altogether. Steve, the transmitter sounds good, so got a very, if I could use this word, very pretty audio. And Norm, I'm copying you fine. I don't think I've ever talked to you before, but I'm in a little town in northeast, right in the northeast corner of Georgia. And running a DX60 into a Warrior amp with about 275 watts on voice peaks, and the receiver's a National NC173. Antenna's a flat top, fed with open wire line at about 40 feet. Tom, over to you, WA4FJQ, WN4PFI.
WN4PFI, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Doak. The rig here in High Point is AF68, receiving on the Collins 75S3 and feeding the transmitter over to Centurion, Tentec Centurion amp, putting out around 400, 500 watts, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then up to a tuner. The interesting thing about this Centurion that Charlie spent a lot of time working on was that it also transmits equally well in standby. So we've been sending emails back and forth now for the past 3 or 4 days or whatever, trying to figure out why that is, and so far we haven't been able to figure it out. So on the next transmission, I'm going to switch it to standby, and I'm going to be passing it up to Steve. And Steve, if you can hear something on the next go-around, let me know about it. Weather here is really nice. We got a total of about 5 inches of rain over 2 days, so we're really happy about that because we were down 2 inches or more. But at any rate, that's all I got for now, so let me turn it back up to you, Steve. Everybody's very strong, except 1 or 2 stations there. W7IUC I could barely copy, but everybody else is doing really well. Over to you, Steve. N4LQ, this is WA4FJQ.
Okay, Tom, this is N4LQ. Do we have any more check-ins? All right, well, Tom, it sounds okay. You are definitely overdriving it. You're like 40 kc wide looking at the spectrum, so you might want to back off on the drive a tad. So there was a lot of stuff on both sides down to 3695, and upward also. So appreciate the audio report on this whole thing, and there's not much to it, but it's got a huge amount of modulation. It's kind of weird. It's got like 140%, but I'm having trouble with the coupling, and Cliff, you may know what I'm talking about. That coupling control, it seems like there's no power output at all, and you gradually turn it up, and then kaboom, all of a sudden you've got full power output. It just, I don't know what that's all about. Other than that, it's okay. We got 3 inches of rain over the past 3 days. We got that unexpected job on Friday. Let's see what else. And this transmitter, just this morning I was going to use it, and the 807 flashed, and boy, it lit up like a fireworks inside. So fortunately I had another 807. I haven't seen 807s go bad like that, but man, this one sure did. Let's see. Dave, the 610 sounds good. Bunch of Rangers. KZ4B got a walk, and I'll tell you what, when John walks, he moves fast, especially if there's chicken livers at the other end of the line, but he can just about outwalk anybody, I would say. And let's see, I hope this is IUQ, KG4 IUQ, you said you're running 500 or 600 watts. It does sound okay. No problem at all. I assume you're talking about peak envelope power and not 500 watts carrier, which would be a strain on just about any amplifier. Let's see, Norm, Ranger's making it over here to Shelby just fine, no problem at all. So all that coax doesn't hurt a thing. And Larry's Ranger sounds good as usual, and Cliff on the AF67 sounding good. N4AK really blasting in here on the in-fed half wave. And John PVC, I hope you don't go back to that other antenna, because it was always weak up here. What you're on now is always strong, and I'm glad you're on it. And thanks for the audio report, Doak. Pretty audio. I'll take that. Not sure how pretty it is, but appreciate it. And anyhow, that's about it for this round. It is 71. I took a walk today and got a little overheated. I couldn't believe it. Sunshine got to me. So back around for another one. Over to Dave for some little tidbits in history, I'm sure. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
4LQ, WA4LLR. Yeah, I like the audio on that little Johnson Mobile. Yeah, 3 Rangers, 3 LMAX, and various and sundry other rigs, and one current radio. And Glenn, I hadn't had need to try the noise blanker on the 991, but it's good to know that it's effective. They're a great little radio, for sure. And Norm, big signal up here, no problem whatsoever. And yeah, buddy, I've noticed the same thing about the upper bands. They've been pretty sorry lately. But oh well, you know, a lot of solar noise, solar radio emissions, and instability. So hopefully things will smooth out here before long. We need high solar flux numbers and good geomagnetic stability. Hopefully we'll achieve that at some point before the cycle peaks out. Anyway, the current space weather, sunspot count's 136. Solar flux index is 167, and the K is 3.3. so it's not as calm as it could be, but it's not up to storm level. As far as the tidbits from history, I'll give you a few. On this day in 1818, Karl Marx was born. On this day in 1942, Tammy Wynette was born. I prefer her to Carl. On this day in 2001, American publisher Clifton Keith Hillegas passed away in Nebraska. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell, any of you that used Cliff Notes in school owe quite a bit to Mr. Clifton Keith Hillegas. On this day in 1961, Alan Shepard made his 15-minute debut in a suborbital flight and became the first American in space. On this day in 1960, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev announced to the Soviet Union that Francis Gary Powers and the U-2 spy plane had been shot down over the Soviet Union. On this day in 1945, while on a picnic at Gerhardt Mountain, Oregon, 6 people were killed by a Japanese balloon bomb. They were the only deaths by enemy action on the continental United States in World War II. Let's see here, what else? One more thing here. On this day in 1809, Mary Kries became the first woman to receive a U.S. patent for her process of weaving straw with silk, creating hats and other headwear. So that's about it from this day in history. Go ahead and send it on around. And Chuck, you are really loud on that Ranger. N4IYQ, WA4LLR.
Okie doke. Thank you much, Dave. WA4LLR and old friends N4IYQ. Well, good audio and good signals on everybody all the way around. Enjoy hearing all the different rigs. And Dave, appreciate you keeping the recap how many Rangers and LMAX and the Johnson Mobile sounds good. I had a chance to see the one that Cliff's got here, I think last week. Certainly a neat looking little rig, and I'm looking forward to hearing it on the air. And of course the Johnson 500s, they always do a fantastic job. And Norm, good to hear you in here. That's certainly good, and it was good to see you at the Greenville Ham Fest, although the weather wasn't very nice to us, you know, a little damp at times, but it finally did clear off. And 5-mile walk today, Cliff. My goodness, I can't believe you didn't call to try to get me and rouse me up to go with you. But sounds like you got a little wet coming back down the hill. And we're also looking forward to making a side trip to Fair Radio Sales just prior to Dayton. I think they're going out around the end of the month and then going to have an auction sometime in the summer. That's going to be a curious thing to see. Last time we were up there was last fall, Cliff and myself, and the guy just he wasn't coming off his prices too much, but he sure does have a lot of stuff and a lot of junk too. So, but we're looking forward to that, and like I say, looking forward to Dayton, and hope it has good weather. And then I guess it'll be a little dry spell. Won't make the Atlanta Ham Fest. I've got plans for something else that day. I'll make this my last one. Steve, appreciate you doing net control, and I always appreciate all the net control operators and the dedication. Hope everybody has a nice remainder of what's left of the weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, be blessed, and we'll look to see you next Sunday. We missed the Tuesday and Thursday as we're still camping out part-time at the Crumley House brain injury. Got to make that Ham Fest money. KZ4 Bravo, John, pick it up and take it, and we'll make them aware in Dayton, have some chicken livers on hand. N4IYQ, good day.
Okay, N4IYQ and the group KZ4B, fine business, Chuck. Good signal here, very good signal. And Steve, I forgot to comment. Your audio does sound quite good on the Viking Mobile. I wanted to make that point. And Dave, I wanted to tip my hat to the supplier of Cliff Notes. They saved my rear end more times than not back in the day. I was fairly reliant on them for, I was better in science and math than I was in the literary pursuits, so it helped a lot. And Mark, if you have any interest in a BC610, I have had one for some time. I'm interested in selling it. I'll take $1,000 for everything. It's the whole unit with all the coils and all the tuning units that go in the RF deck for all the frequencies up to, I guess it's 20 megahertz, and I may have whatever the military standard was, and I have maybe some beyond that. I do have the broadcast band coil and tuning unit. Let's see. Oh, and Norm, I could just barely copy you, very weak here. The QS Baker, you were coming back at the end of your transmission, so I copied the very end, but nowhere in the beginning or the middle of the transmission. And John Weiner, K1BBC, I concur with Steve. I think your long wire makes you a whole lot easier to copy than your previous antenna. So you lucked out and tripped onto an improvement. And Tom, you are booming in here even if you are wide. And you had said, I believe, that you were using a Tentec Centurion amplifier, which I assume has 23500Zs. Confirm that. Now, there was a Centaur that used 3 811s or 572Bs. I assume it's not that, but you were weren't claiming much power, so it sounded like maybe I've got that right anyway. You might clear up which amplifier you have, irregardless of the name. So on that note, take it away, Mark. KG4IUQ in the group, KZ4 Bravo, over.
Thank you very much, John. This is Mark, KG4IUQ. I hear you. Thank you for the offer on the BC610. I'm going to keep that in mind. I think that's probably a good transmitter. I know that Dave always sounds good. And also, I think the Johnsons are good too. I think they're, they're impressive. And I would kind of like to sometime try to find something that people would consider good on CW and AM. And I have been impressed with AM. It's kind of easy to do. Works out well with these VFOs and crystals. But CW is a different thing on the vintage transmitter. It's kind of a mystery as to. I have always thought, wow, CW came from the past. Everybody must have been really good at that way back in the day, and their transmitters sounded good. But it seems like it's a very difficult thing to set up, and the information on it is difficult to find. I just wonder if anybody knows what would be a good transmitter and receiver setup for CW using the old transmitter. Glenn, N4AK, you say you had QSB on me. I need to find me some way to get my antenna up higher, I believe. I'm not sure about it, but I wish I had some kind of pole that I can put up and it'd go up like 40 feet or more. And it would be safe enough for me to put it up by myself and take it down. I wish I knew of some way that that can be done. Right now I use an MFJ fiberglass mast that's kind of worn out in one place. It probably goes up to 25 feet right now. And I need to improve it really. Went to church today and I've been noticing this. I wonder if other people have seen this happening in their church. It's a decline in church attendance. Maybe 15 people were there today in our church. I wonder if it has something to do with the economy. People just not getting out, not really having the money to pay. That's just a guess. I have talked to Roy Gallman again, and he's still making the effort to get in touch with Wayne, and he's going to do that for me. And I still am going to try to get in touch with him. Asked him about the microphones, the general situation with carbon microphones and the bandmaster of the Harvey Wells. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now to Buddy, WB4ARK in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ. Okay, Mark. This is WB4ARK. Well, let's see. The static crashes are about the same. They were pretty strong on your signal, Mark, but your signal didn't have any QSB with it. It was steady the whole time, as I think most of the other stations were. We have had static crashes ever since I turned on the receiver a little before 6, probably about 5:30. It looks like toward the north is a little bit dark, so I think we might have a storm somewhere in the area. Good to hear you, Norm. Hadn't heard you on the air in a good while now. And you've got a good signal into Lake Wiley today. So let's see here. Well, we rigged up a motion detector and a air crow unit to combat the deer population around here, trying to keep them away from Linda's flowers, and they have been devastating some of her flowers in the garden area. So we hope that's going to help out. My son has used this for his koi pond. He's got 2 koi ponds. He's got a big one in the front and a small one in the back. So he's got a couple of these units which I put together for him using motion detectors, and it turns on the air crow, and up goes the nylon unit and scares everything away, and it does work. So hopefully we're gonna get some action around here.
Would like to say, Steve, thanks for doing the net. And I don't think I mentioned I'm on the ART-13 R390 feeding a horizontal dipole today. So I guess I'm the only ART-13 on this afternoon. I'd like to get more of these on from time to time. Unfortunately, we're not, we don't have the interest in these units like we should. I think people just don't want to take the time and trouble to make them, to tune them up. So, at any rate, we'll turn it over to Norm and say 73 from here. And so that's it. W7 IUC WB4 ARK.
Alrighty, WB4 ARK in the group. W7 IUC. Again, I apologize for the weak signal here. Like I said, we just got the little Johnson Ranger running barefoot here, not a whole lot of power. Dave, I wanted to pass along to you that we lost our Missy, our great Parames yesterday. Oh, what a job that was. We had to call a veterinarian in from Maryville, Tennessee to come over here and put her down. And then we had to call a crematory service to come over here and pick her up. We had that dog about 13, 14 years. What a great dog. Kind of like that puppy you got now, so you got an idea. It was pretty hard on little Manny. We had that dog a long time. And she ran up here on the back porch yesterday, and we knew that was pretty much the end of it. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to say 73s and get out of here, too. I enjoyed it, and sure glad I could get down here on the Old Friends Net. Boy, it's been a long time for me. And I hope I can get back in here again and talk to all you wonderful people. And God bless everybody on here. And we'll meet you again if the creek don't rise. And hopefully one of these days I'll get me an amplifier or something on here to boost the signal up a little bit. I'm not having any trouble with anybody's signal, but I do notice a lot of stations in there have very, very low audio. I'm not sure what that's about, whether it's my receiver or just my location and the conditions. Larry, over to you. God bless. Take care, buddy. WB4NKM, W7IUC. Good evening.
W7IUC from WB4NKM. Okay, Norm. I'm sorry to hear about your dog. I've got that looking at me coming up pretty soon, I think. But hope you both get over that quickly. Signals are holding up real steady. There's no QSB on my end up here, which is a change. Everybody's holding real strong today. And Steve, the mobile rig sounds great. Flashed to 807. Boy, that's something to see. You did something right there. That's one for the books. And Dave, the BC610C sounds excellent. We've got some notes down here, but I'm having problems reading my own writing. Clip, the AF67 is sounding excellent up here. The way I could tell you we're on a LMAC was I can hear that swish at the end when you let go of the carrier. So it's beating with something in my receiver. It could be the Ranger's not fully keyed, not fully netted, or I call it netted. It's not zeroed. That's probably what the is beaten with. And I got to get in there and take care of that problem. Boy, Tom, the 5 inches of rain there, that's, you got all the rain down there. We haven't got that much up here on this end. We're just getting a shower or two down then. So I'll keep it moving down to you, Cliff. WB4NKL, WB4NKM.
Yeah, WB4NKM. It's WB4NKL. Okay, Larry. And Norm, sorry about the loss of your dog. That's always no fun to go through. Steve, you noticed the same thing I did about the Viking Mobile is the way it shows up there on the modulation percentage on the REA modulation monitor. It really kicks it up. Got this LMAC tuned up there yesterday, and it don't kick it up near that high, but you know, it should be similar, you would think. What it is about that transmitter, but the coupling on mine's pretty smooth all the way out. It just you can dial it back to about 7 or 8 watts. So I'm wondering if you maybe have got something shorting there when you back that coupling loop out, or maybe one of the little wires that you know, the movable wires is not making when you back it out or something. Some kind of loose connection there, but yeah, mine's smooth tuning all the way from end to out. So let's see. I'm running and one thing I'm running different here on the LMAC is I got a PS2 power supply that I've had for a long time. Don't have the original power transformer in it, but it's got something in it that's similar. I had it wired up for a Gonset, but I wired it back up. I didn't have any LMAX when I got the power supply, so I wired it back up for LMAX. So it's a little different on this end. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Glenn, N4AK, WB4NKL.
Man, I'm impressed with your walking, smart man. Keep it up. Mark had a comment about church attendance, and I find it at my little country church is up. Little place called Holly Springs Baptist Church, and I guess there's always at least 100 plus in church, and they also broadcast it for old folks. And I'm amazed every week I see the giving is over plus or minus $6,000 a week. And this is the first church I've ever been in my life. They hadn't asked for any money in 6 years. Dave, you'll probably smile at that one, but it's the truth. Anyway, it's been nice chatting with you fellows this afternoon. I could copy everybody. So, and John, it's good to hear you on this afternoon, and you Johnson sounding fine, and appreciate the signal report out of Steve. And Tom, nice to have you in today, and certainly nice to have Norm checking in with us again. K1VVC, November 4, Alpha Kilo.
Yeah, very good. N4AK, K1VVC. Thanks, Glenn. Have a great week. And, buddy, talking about the AIT-13s, of course, the one that had the most constant all the years AIT-13 was Reed, W2CQH, but unfortunately with the time change, he just isn't able to make it at 6. So definitely lost a permanent AIT-13 there, at least until we change back, or if we don't, then it's just the way it is. And Steve, thanks for the info on the antenna. I'm using this half-wave end-fed, and the reason it's probably sounding stronger, it's quite a bit lower than the dipole is using. It's only about 25 feet, maybe 30 feet above ground, and my other antenna was about 60 feet. I think, certainly for close in, it makes a big difference. And once I get my tower down and fix the problem I'm having with my remote switch, I'll probably change back to some other different antenna. Anyhow, it's been a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. Everybody was coming through just fine today, which was very nice for a change. Good signals. And believe it or not, Norm, if you're still listening, I think you were complaining about running low power. You're one of the strongest signals here in Greer, South Carolina. Over to you, Doug, WN4PFI. Everybody have a good week, K1VVC.
K1VVC, WN4PFI returning. Thank you, John. Yeah, I agree with you, John. Norm still has, I don't know if he's still there or not, but still had a very strong signal here in northeast Georgia. And everybody else, I'm copying everybody today, very, very good. I had, y'all may already know this, but I had ordered a crystal from AF4K. I'd ordered some before them in the past, but I know it was closed down and then purchased by another company. But the crystal I ordered here just a few weeks ago had come from Hawaii. I thought they used to come from Florida, but anyhow, it took a little longer for that crystal to get here. But don't know if any of you have an occasion to need one, but just so you know, if you buy one from them, it's coming from a foreign country. It's coming from Hawaii. We pretty much got our garden. My wife's done most of the work in the garden, and well, we put potatoes in, green beans, tomatoes, cucumbers. And another thing that we have discovered up here in these mountains, called a candy roaster. It's a squash, but it is unlike any squash we've ever seen. They're very large, 12 to 15 pounds, and they make a wonderful pie, or a custard if you prefer that. And we were told that the Cherokee Indians wanted to develop that, of course, many, many years ago. Anyhow, it's called a candy roaster. It's very sweet, light, and not like a pumpkin, not like a potato. Steve, I'll get down after this one. It's good to hear everybody on. Thank you, Steve, for calling the net today. And hope to be back on again next Sunday. Everyone have a wonderful week. And Tom, over to you. WA4FJQ. This is WN4PFI. Be clear. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
N4PFI, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Doe. Steve, listen out. I turned the modulation on this AF68 down to about half of what it was going into the 30L1, which was the linear that I had before the Centurion. John, you asked some questions about it. It's Tintec 422 Centurion. It uses 3 500Zs, 2 of them. And it's putting out, according to this MFJ watt meter, I think around 350 or so unmodulated carrier. So it's kicking up around 1,1200 watts on peaks. But I have dropped the modulation on the AF68 way back to see if that will do something about that splatter. So Steve, come back to me and give me a signal report. And if you can hang around on this frequency after the net is over with, so I can play with this modulation a little bit to get rid of the splatter, I would definitely appreciate it. So I'm going to turn it back up to you, and we'll see what happens. N4LQ, this is WA4FJQ.
Roger, it's N4LQ. Do we have anybody that would like to check in really late? And we'd be glad to give you the floor here for a minute. Go ahead.
Duke, what was the name of the source of that crystal again? The crystal you bought, is that for 3715? Over.
Yes, AF4K. AF4K. Like I said, it used to be owned by another gentleman, but someone else bought it, and I guess they moved the operation way out west. So AF4K, if you'll Google that, you can get it. Go ahead.
Roger, thanks.
Okay, this is the N4LQ, and Tom, that took care of the problem, and you're no longer occupying half the band, so it sounds good now. Be glad to talk to you after the net. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to go get a bowl of cereal here after the net. I usually do that about 6:30. It's 7 o'clock, so we got time for just a quick 73 rounds. Just enough to say 73s and bye-bye to everybody. So, Dave, if you would, and let's see, so far we've had IYQ Chuck check out, so it'll go straight to Z4B. IUC is gone, so Buddy goes straight over to Cliff, NKL, or no, to Larry, NKL. And PFI Doak is gone, so John will go to FJQ. I think I got everybody, but if not, that's okay. Go ahead, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Fine business, N4LQ and the group WA4LLR. Steve, thanks for calling the net. A few quick comments. Doak, yeah, candy roasters are a wonderful thing. I don't like pumpkin pie, but boy, I like candy roaster pie. And Glenn, glad to hear your church attendance is up. That's wonderful. Norm, if you're still listening, I'm so sorry about Mitzi. I hate to hear that your dog passed. And Mark, sorry to hear attendance is down where you go. It's a mixed bag. Glad that Cliff and Chuck are going to be running by Fair Radio. And I was just looking at the space weather, and since 0-100 UTC today, we've had 13 flares, M and above, so it's been an active day. 7-3, God bless. Everybody have a great one, Lord willing. We'll see you on Tuesday. KZ4B, WA4LLR.
Okay, WA4LLR and the group KZ4B. Fine business there, Dave. Mark, that's a BC610E, which was right at the end of World War II and just after. And the comment on the churches, I think that COVID really started the downfall of church attendance, and it hasn't recovered. Just a thought. And ART13, I've got one that I used for years, but the auto-tune on the VFO went out, and I have not gotten around to fixing it. Thanks for calling the net, Steve. Enjoyed it as always. Everybody have a great week. And Mark, I assume you're still there. KG4IUQ, KZ4B, over.
Thank you very much, John. I'll keep this information about the BC610E. And I hear Dave saying that it's a mixed bag about church attendance. And John, you're saying, what I'm all confused now. I know that COVID, yeah. John, you said that COVID has caused the attendance to go down and it hasn't recovered. And I believe that, in general, that has happened. I was talk about a crystal available from AF4K for 3715 kilohertz. I might look into that, but I really don't need it. so I may not look at it. Okay, it's been a good net. Hope everybody has a good evening. I'm going to turn it over to, I believe it is Larry, WB4NKM. This is KG4IZ.
73s to everybody. Thanks for calling the net, Steve. I really enjoyed it. Dan was great up here today. And we look forward to getting on again, I guess, Tuesday morning. WB4NKL to take it. WB4NKM.
Okay, Larry. Got good signals all the way around, 100% copy today on everybody. So 73s, Steve tried to get on 160 after a while. It didn't work out too good last night, but maybe it'll be better there tonight. Catch everybody probably Tuesday. I think I can. Go ahead, Glenn. N4AK, it's WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL in the group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. It's been a pleasure chatting with everybody this afternoon, and Steve, thank you very much for calling the net for us. N4LQ, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
I guess I'll say goodbye also. Steve, thanks for doing the net today, and we'll speak to you later. K1VVC.
Okay. You just about got passed over, John. Thanks everybody for checking in. Have a good evening, and we'll say 73s here. Close down the net. One more comment that about CW rigs that Mark brought up, and if you want to sound decent on CW when you run a boat anchor, the general rule is to run a VFO constantly and don't try to key it. Because when you key the VFO off and on, it produces chirp, whoop, and clicks. And of course there's other ways to get clicks. So either use a crystal or a constantly running VFO. And the Ranger tried to overcome this by adding a time sequence keying, which keyed the VFO before the actual transmitter was keyed in an attempt to get the whoop out before the power went out. And sometimes it was successful. It didn't really work out all that good up on the high bands. That's how you can sound good on CW, and that means you've got to come up with a way to turn on the VFO when you're ready to transmit and just let it run. You can use like a DX60 or even your AF68, use an external VFO and just get it running and then key the rig. Otherwise, you're going to sound very distinct from modern rigs. That's about all I've got to say about that. And Tom, if I can help you after the net, that's fine. So this is N4LQ saying good night, 73s, and see you Tuesday or tonight on 160.
N4LQ, this is WA4FJQ. Can you hang around a little while, Steve?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom. Give me about 3 minutes, and I'll go fix me a bowl of cereal and be right back.
I'll sit right here and wait for your call. Test 1 2 3 4 5. 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 WA4FJQ testing 1 2 3 4 5.
Okay, here we go. WA4FJQ, N4LQ. Go ahead.
Okay, roger that. Interestingly enough, right now there's no modulation showing on the modulator on the AF68. The meter is not even moving. But I'm certainly seeing a peak output on the Centurion. So let me do this. Let me just drop this modulation down. I'm going to turn it down, and you tell me where you think it just disappears or what. Going down, down, going down, going down, 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 down. All right. I'm not seeing much coming out of the amplifier at this point. All right. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Tell me what you hear at this level. Over.
You need to go back up. I mean, I still heard you okay. You got down to about 30% or so. So I'll bring it up just a little bit lower where you had it to begin with, and you'll be fine. I don't know about the meter movement. That's an interesting, the modulation meter, yeah, it's supposed to kick up, but, maybe the shunt has gotten off value, or how much idling current are you showing on that?
Do you copy me now? I've played with the modulation. I think we double there. What does it look like now on your meter? Over.
Oh, it looks fine. Looks like it ought to. About 50%. I mean 100%.
Okay. Well, I don't know why this modulation meter is not moving at all. Idle current is about 250 or so milliamps, I think, over on the grid setting. But at any rate, I'll just leave it at this point. If it looks good on your meters, then that's all I need to really know. Over.
Yeah, it looks clean. Sounds good. Looks clean on the spectrum here, so probably looks better than what I'm doing. So yeah, I think you got it there, Tom.
Okay, thanks. That's all I really need. I'll let you get back to your serial. Thanks very much, Steve. I can figure out why this modulation, why it's not showing anything, but that's not a big deal right now. But I just don't want to, splatter all over the band and that kind of thing. Anyway, thanks for calling the net, Steve. And we'll see you next Sunday. N4LQ, this is WA4FJQ, off and clear.
Okay, Doug, 73. WA4FJQ, N4LQ, be clear.
Before you do